Welcome back, everybody. I'm Calvin, also known as Sunshine Shoulders. He sent his Filipino chat made 400,000 US dollars. What's really going on over here in the Philippines? I just want to talk about that a little bit. I brought this up on a live stream before when it happened over 2 years ago. And every now and then I'll mention it on one of my videos, as I did yesterday, just in passing. And every time I do, I get a pushback. It's like, are you sure? As if I'm lying, as if I have a reason to lie about that. But I want to address it, because when I mentioned it yesterday in passing, probably the last thing I mentioned on my video, I get a comment, are you sure, Calvin? $400,000? Yeah, 400,000. A little bit over 2.5 years ago, right around the time the Philippines reopened, I received a Facebook messenger from a guy. He's from Las Vegas. And he says, hey, I need some help. I need some advice. I'm chatting with a woman, this and that, and I always ask, are you sending money? He said, yeah. I said, well, how much have you sent? I'm thinking he's going to say a few $1,000s or whatever. He says, about 400,000. But he said 20 million pesos. And I stopped him right there. I said, look, man, I don't want to hear nothing else. You either send me some proof. I don't want to hear your story. You're lying. It was so preposterous. It was the craziest thing I had heard up to that point. Because I've heard crazier stories now. Okay? This is why the title of the video is what's really going on over here. So what he did, he said, okay, let me go get my receipts. So what he did was he screen printed all these receipts and sent them to me. See, I've got receipts. There's no reason for me to lie on here about that. And every day he's sending this woman money. 600, 800, 463, 342, whatever it was. I mean, if I would have printed off those receipts, it would have been a stack about like this. And then he said, but this is not all. He said, I did some online. And you know what, man? It blew me away. So I asked him. I didn't ask him why first. The first question I asked him was, where are you getting all this money from, man? That's a lot of money. Well, of course, he never answered that. But he did answer the why. I said, well, why'd you do it? He said, because I'm trying to move the young lady and her family out of the squatters area. He put that cape on I was telling y'all about. And I told him, I said, you could have did that for about $5,000. I mean, that would have been a lot of money to send a woman that you've never met, but that would have been a reasonable amount. He could have provided for her and her family reasonably for a smidgen of what he ended up sending. And he didn't seem like he was crazy. He just seemed like a normal guy with the conversation that we had over the few days. No red flags came up other than the 400,000. So I ask you again, what's going on over here? Because that wasn't the end of the story. I don't even know if he's still sending the young lady money or not, because that's the first thing I advised him. I said, look, man, stop sending that money over here. She's just wasting it. They're not investing that money. They're not doing anything with it. And I can guarantee you, if you're watching this, all that money that he sent that lady, she probably doesn't have 2 pesos to rub together. So he basically just burned up 400,000 US dollars. Every time I hear it, all these years later, man, it just amazes me that we have that kind of money to throw away. I was just listening this morning. This is what made me make this video. The extreme lengths we go to escape our situations over there. Whether it's real or fantasy, but a man faked his death somewhere in America in a kayak accident. Had his family thinking he was drowned. FBI started investigating, found out he faked his own death. He left his wife and 3 children behind to chase a woman overseas. Not only that, but transferred his money from his account to either her account or an account wherever she is. He basically left him. We're doing some crazy stuff, man. I'm going to have a guy on my live stream today. You know, he's unhappily married. But the reason I bring that up is because when I asked him, I said, where are you getting that money? There's no telling. Maybe he was, what do you call it when you taking money from your job, or maybe he was stealing from his family. Whatever it was, he was sending this money every single day. You can imagine what this woman must have thought. Wow. I mean, this is more than her wildest dreams, more than my wildest dreams. So then I asked him, I said, okay, can you send me a picture of her? I'm sure she's one of these Instagram models. So he sends me the picture. This lady wasn't even a yummy 6. She was a disappointing 3 with a double chin. All the filters in the world could not help this woman. And she was chubby at that. And I'm saying, boy, the pandemic lockdown did a number on this guy. Because it was during the pandemic that he was sending all the money. Because people are in denial about that. The PTSD, the behavioral changes, and all that being locked in your damn house for 2 years would do to you. It did a whammy on him, I assume. But to anybody that's pushing back on me about these stories, man, and saying, oh, it's just an isolated case, it's not an isolated case. I get the messages. I get the emails. Okay? I get these preposterous stories, man. And even for people like me who think, oh, the money that we've given, there's some justification for it. We just don't really have a clue. A lot of us are in denial. This isn't a repeat of the video I did yesterday. The only reason I'm making this, number one, I saw that crazy news story about the guy escaping his family. And then for the guy asking me, Cal, are you sure it was $400,000? Yeah, I'm absolutely sure, man. I've got the receipts. So what's really going on over here? I'm tired of guys really saying, hey, you know, it's not that bad. These guys are stupid. Well, there's thousands of us that are stupid. And people are like, you know, my video I made, you know, paying for everything, every day, all the time, in a relationship is it financially sustainable? Of course, you're going to get guys that say, well, what do you expect? You're coming over here to the Philippines, marrying and dating poor women, and, you know, they're justifying it. And I'm saying the video was just to inform you, because we don't get to that point. All we're thinking about is the pussy. That's all we're thinking about. We can't get past that. You don't know what it's like really to do that on a continuous basis for years and years and years. It's, you know, what kind of pussy is worth that kind of money? And this guy, he got nothing for his other than a chat mate. So thank y'all so much for stopping by. It's important that we tell these stories, really. I'm not admonishing men. I mean, you're a grown man, you know, because the justification is, oh, it's my money. It's his money. He can do whatever he wants to do with it. But I want you to understand that you're not just walking into a normal situation. There's an intricate game being played over here on foreign men. It's been going on for a long, long time. I just want you to know that up front before you walk in here. Because I didn't know. I was just as naive as everybody else. I thought that the women really liked me. You know, I was like, wow, you know, this is one problem I never had until I got to the Philippines. Women problems. Women fighting over me. Literally. I had that over here. Not realizing they're fighting over my resources. They're fighting over my money. They're fighting over their spot. So if in America, if in the Philippines, wherever you are, find in your heart to help somebody. Not a day goes by and I don't help somebody. I want to stop here and say thank y'all so much for those of my viewers and subscribers who have contributed in honor of Miss Rosalia Jalal Moret, the 69-year-old Filipino mother who was tragically killed in a hit and run accident. You guys have really responded. And I want to thank you for that. But I expect that, man. I mean, you know, we've helped people over the years, and so many, we don't even count. But I do want to thank you for that. And your help is not going to go in vain, because when we help other people, we help ourselves. Take care, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and don't do anything stupid. Don't send $400,000 over here to a woman you've never met. Don't send $400,000 over here to a woman that you've met. Don't send $400,000 over here to a woman that you've met and you've married, and she gave you that expensive blowjob. Don't do that, guys. But it's real. It's a problem. And if it's affecting men, we're going to talk about it.